Fitness, fitness, fitness. Let's talk about how to get fit and stay fit in a very short period of time right here. First thing you want is you want energy right away. If you can't have energy, you're not even gonna have the desire to work out, because try going 2 days without sleep, try going 2 days without food. You're gonna have so low energy, the desire to work out is not gonna be there at all. So you've gotta at least have the desire to work out, and you have the desire to work out only when you have enough energy. So how do you get enough energy? You've gotta sleep and you've gotta avoid stimulants. 2 things. Sleep, get to bed, ideally soon after the sun goes down, and when the sun does go down, turn off your lights in your house, just already start darkening the room. But ideally for me, I get to bed before 9 p.m. Ideally around 8:30, that's when I get to bed. That's a great time to get to bed because you wake up super refreshed, supercharged. If that's unrealistic for you, at least get to bed before 10. The whole point is just to at least accumulate 8 to 9 hours of sleep throughout the night. So get more sleep and avoid stimulants, avoid Red Bull, avoid coffee, avoid booze, avoid really stimulating junk food, like fast food with MSG and stuff like that. Just avoid crap and get enough sleep. That's the first thing, that's energy. So people talk about recovery, recovering after training, recovering after hard workouts, etc. The first aspect is recovery. When you're fully recovered, you're gonna have enough energy. When you're not fully recovered, you're not gonna have enough energy. So number one, along with energy, is recovery. So focus on recovery first. First thing you wanna focus on when it comes to fitness is recovery. You ask yourself, am I recovered? Second thing, what is the second thing? It's nutrition. It's the fuel you're gonna put in your body so that you can sustain that energy. So what does good nutrition look like? Well, you look at every top athlete and they're all doing high carb, low fat. It's not some program that I believe in, it's some program that I know works. Like, I don't believe that this pen is black and kind of gray right here. I know it's black and kind of gray. I'm looking at it. You look at all the top athletes, they're eating high carb, low fat. What does that mean in terms of actual food? Some people don't even know what carbs and fat is. I asked somebody the other day, what is carbohydrates? And they said butter. People think butter is carbohydrates. They don't even know. And I asked them what a healthy diet is, and they said, well, avoiding carbs is healthy. So people don't even understand that you gotta get the carbs in and avoid the fat. So what does it look like? Actually, what's a tangible, what does it actually look like? Here's a coconut, okay? Here's a coconut. And here are some bananas. Awesome, look how nice that looks. This coconut, the water in it is carbohydrate based. The meat in it is fat based. These bananas, pretty much pure carbs, about 95% carbs, 93% carbs, the rest is some protein and fat. All fruit really, all fruit except durian and avocado and olives are carbohydrate based. Get lots of fruit in. If you can't get lots of fruit in, at least get some carbohydrate plant-based foods in, like the potatoes and sweet potatoes and squashes and pumpkins and things like that. Or some plantains. Cooked fruit is the best cooked food. Cooked pumpkins, cooked squashes, these are actually fruit. So if you cook them up, they're gonna be way better for you than if you're eating some stuff like gluten and rice and stuff like that. So, but if you're eating fruit, then get in the bananas, get in the papayas, get in the mangoes, get in the watermelons. Just lots of carbs, lots of carbs, lots of carbs. Every athlete will tell you the same thing. Nobody's in disagreement here. A lot of athletes disagree on many things, but the one thing that all the top athletes agree on, all the top endurance athletes agree on, is that you want to be eating majority of your calories from carbohydrates and avoiding the fat as much as you can. The less fat you eat, you know, the more energy you're gonna have. Of course, you gotta have some fat every now and then. You know, every now and then I have an avocado. Pretty much every day I have some of the coconut meat. That's nutrition 101, very, very simple. High carb, low fat, keep it as much fruit as you can. If you can't get the fruit, then cook your fruit, pumpkin squashes, plantains, things like that. And then of course, water, water, water. This is your nutrition, this is your diet. So we talked about recovery, talked about nutrition. The third thing when it comes to fitness, this is when we start getting serious, consistency. Consistency has to come before anything. If you're consistent with walking on the elliptical, if you're consistent with for swimming at the pool, doing anything else is gonna be so much easier. Riding your bike's gonna be easier, running's gonna be easier, doing workouts at the gym is gonna be easier. If you're consistent with one thing, everything else will be easier. You know, if I just rode my bike, if I was very consistent with riding my bike, it would help my running, it would help my swimming, it would help my strength training. If I was just consistent with strength training, it would help my swimming, it would help my running, it would help my biking. Doesn't matter what. One thing really carries over to the other. You just gotta be consistent in that one thing. So no matter what you do, whether it's walking, hiking, running, swimming, biking, all three, whatever, just be consistent at it. What does that mean? It means doing it every single day for the most part, 6 days a week. If you want to take a day off, I wouldn't recommend taking a day off because it'll make you go crazy, but do as much as you can every day. Ideally, in the morning and in the evening. If you can get 2 workouts in a day, that's better than just 1. Way better. Work out in the morning, work out in the evening, you feel like $1 million. You feel like $1 million. I've taken a lot of drugs in my past. I feel way better now that I'm taking exercise in the morning and taking exercise at night. Exercise is the best drug. It releases naturally occurring hormones in your body. It makes you feel good and on point. After consistency, what do you have to do? Well, when you're consistent enough and you want to take it to the next level, you start getting specific. So instead of being consistent with going to the gym, and when you're at the gym you do treadmill, elliptical, bike, and some weights, that's great. That's going to help everything else. But now you want to take it to the next level. It's time to get specific. So what do you really want to get good at? This is where goal setting comes in. You be specific and say, okay, I want to run a sub 20-minute 5K. Okay, we've gotten consistent now. Now we can get specific and train specifically for that. So now you apply the consistency factor with the specificity factor. So now you're consistently training for a sub 20-minute 5K, and you start getting rid of the other stuff. You start getting rid of the elliptical, you start getting rid of maybe some of the strength training, and you just really focus on running that sub 20-minute 5K. This is where the consistency supports the specificity. But if you're just specific without being consistent, it's gonna be hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss. You've gotta be consistent. And not only consistent with the specificity, but consistent with the diet and the recovery as well. So it's huge. That's where the consistency really supports everything. And the specificity is gonna allow you to take it up a level. So when you're ready for that, get specific, set a goal, write it down on paper, put it everywhere, put it on your phone, put it on your computer, tell people about it if you want to tell people about it, but just be specific and train specifically for that. Don't waste your time with other things. Like I'm a triathlete, okay? Going and training to be a rock climber isn't really gonna really help me as a triathlete. So I don't rock climb. In fact, I don't go mountain biking. I mean, I don't go dirt biking either, because I know dirt biking is not really gonna help. Dirt biking is a sport, I think it's in the Olympics, but dirt biking isn't gonna help my swimming, biking, and running. I'd go mountain biking. Mountain biking is a lot more specific to triathlon, but I'm not gonna go kite surfing or dirt bike riding or rock climbing. That's not really gonna help me. It's gonna take away from my training. And because I've been consistent and specific for such a long period of time, the 5th aspect comes into play now. The 5th aspect, this is the most important part when it comes to seeing changes happen quickly, and that is intensity. Intensity is what's gonna change everything for you. But it's very hard to train intensely when you haven't been consistent long enough and when you haven't been training specifically long enough. So intensity really changes everything. It's hard to push yourself intensely, but when you've been training consistently long enough and when you've been training specifically long enough and you've got the good recovery and you've got the good diet, then you can do the intensity. Most people skip everything else I just said and they just go right for the intensity. P90X, great example. Some couch potato puts the CD in, boom, P90X. It is so intense. It's so intense. And what does P90X demand from you? Right away, it demands that you're consistent and that you're intense, like all the time. That's way too much, man. You gotta first take care of the recovery and then take care of the diet and then start being consistent with something, then start training specifically for something, and then add the intensity. There's no point in training intensely for something if it's not specifically for anything. I could train super intensely on the elliptical and it would hardly benefit my running, swimming, or biking. But if I train very intensely on the bike, my biking is gonna get way better. If I train very intensely on the run, my running is gonna get better. If I train intensely on the swim, my swim is gonna get way better. So you might as well first be consistent, so you're generally fit, then get specific, so you get really good at it, and then you train intensely, so you take that good level that you're at and make it great. Don't skip any of the steps. Do those all in order. If you're not recovered, don't go work out. Recover. Once you're recovered, put in good fuel. Eat a dragon fruit, eat a papaya, eat a mango. You're putting in good fuel, then you're gonna feel awesome and you're gonna start wanting to be more consistent with your workouts. When you're consistent with your diet and your recovery, you're gonna wanna be more consistent with the specific training that you're doing too. Some people aren't specific enough, they're just too general, too broad, they don't really get many results, but once they start getting specific, once they lock in and once they go tunnel vision on something, then they really start to see changes. It's very much easier to stay consistent because now they're specifically in love with one thing they're training for. When they start getting closer and closer to reaching that goal, they up the intensity, and that's when people start turning heads. They say, whoo, dang, so-and-so's looking good, or dang, so-and-so's performing really well. Yeah, that's because they've been recovering, they've had a really great diet, they've been consistent for so long, they started training specifically, and now they're doing the intensity. Now they're doing the intensity, and that turns heads. That gets people watching. That's what sells. That's what marketers want. You know, they want to show the triathlete winning the race at the end of the race. That's an intense race, man. But before that race, he took care of those other 4 aspects. The intensity comes last. Don't kid yourself. Don't fool yourself. It's the smartest way of going. these 5 steps in order. Let's go through them one more time very, very quickly. First one, recovery. Second one, diet, nutrition. Third one, consistency. Fourth one, specificity. Be specific. You can hardly do 4, that's really hard to hold. How do you do it? I guess you're supposed to go like that. Okay, fourth one, specificity. And the 5th one, intensity, baby, intensity. That's what's up. That's what's up. So if you guys learned something from this video, give me a thumbs up. If you watch the whole thing, give me 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up? How do I do that? Comment in below. And if you have any questions about anything regarding fitness or nutrition or recovery, let me know. Send me a message on Facebook, send me a comment down below, whatever you want. I'll do my best to get back to you guys. If you did learn something from this video, pass it on, pay it forward to someone else. And yeah, hope to see you guys soon. I'll be here in Thailand for the next year at least, training in this way. Intensity comes every now and then. It's not something you're doing every single day. So specific every day, consistent every day, diet every day, and recovery every day, and intensity, really hard intensity, you know, maybe once or twice a week, and during the important phases. So I'm at that phase now, but it's taken me months to get to this phase, months of consistency and months of specificity, and years of good diet and recovery. So peace, guys. I'll see you later. Raw vegan nutrition. Don't mess around. Adios.